background and objectives is really important. She included learning objectives, which are these three right here, to provide a clear and concise, accurate abortion infographic available in both English and Spanish, and so on. So learning objectives are really useful. In the two posters I made for the ASA, I included learning objectives in both. The results section, because hers was also um, more of a literature review sort of thing. This was also a kind of literature review. Methods, conclusion. Beautifully written. It's really great. And another thing I want to tell you guys is about QR codes. I use QR codes for ASA and AMSACON because it allowed people to view your case report. Put a QR code on your poster. You can even put a QR code of your LinkedIn profile if you'd like. Like use QR codes to really draw in people and make them read more about your case report or more about you as a learner, as a student, as a future clinician. All right, here are bad posters. So, uh, uh, actually, sorry, which of these two is a better poster, do you guys think? You got one answer in the chat. Right side. I agree, Jessica. Thank you. Bharat, you're right. A right side is much better. Why is because it is not so wordy. It uses high contrast, lots of blank spaces such as here and here and here and here. It's clear with the headings. This isn't a medical one, by the way. This is a random one I pulled from NASA. But there's no clear headings. It's jumbled. There's images all over the place. Um, the results are over here for some reason. It's just this is what a bad poster looks like. And wish I can include my poster, my first poster. My first poster was bad. And it's okay if your first poster is not great because you're learning and you're growing. But this is just to put compare and contrast a good poster and a bad poster. Lastly, we'll end here. Poster checklist when you're making your poster. Ensure your file format is TIFF, PDF, or JPG for printing. PDF is preferred. PDF is usually easiest. TIFF and JPG work as well. Ensure the appropriate poster dimensions. You can figure out a way to look at the settings on either Google Slides or PowerPoint to look at the dimensions. And I wanted to highlight it here, but I didn't have a chance. This is the most common size. 36 inches by 48 inches is the most common poster size. It's the poster size that I promise 90% of conferences will ask for. 36 inches by 48 inches. The ASA they like to be very specific. These anesthesiologists, they put it in centimeters. So I had to figure out, just to convert centimeters to inches. So some conferences might tell you this is the specific size or the dimensions we're looking for in centimeters. Sometimes they might tell you in inches, but 90% of the time, 36 by 48 is the standard size because it's good for the 3 or 4 column formats. I've never seen these size posters, but I'm sure they have some application. But again, 36 by 48. If you're using Microsoft Point, select orientation and change it to landscape. This is key because you don't want the orientation to be vertical because then your poster will not look right. So make sure you change the orientation to landscape. Always, 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 always proofread. There are no free rough draft prints. um, there's no free rough draft prints. If they print it, they print it. I made the mistake in my first poster of having two small errors. They were just tiny errors that most people didn't pick up on, but it threw me off as I was presenting it. As I was presenting this very first poster I did, I had typos in it, and I noticed the typos. People didn't notice the typos, so it's gonna get in your way. So always proofread, double proofread, triple proofread, send it to a friend that you trust to proofread again. Lastly, do not put off printing to the last minute. It may take days or weeks. Ideally, from my experience, I've used FedEx, and FedEx usually has a 3 or 4 day turnaround time. I know students that have used posterpresentations.com and have used a fabric poster, which is awesome, so that you can fold the poster up instead of having the tubes. Uh, Office Depot and Staples also works. And then lastly, I want to mention that some conferences, like the ASA, accept e-posters, and they have kind of TVs or monitors that they set up where you can just submit an e-poster, which is a PDF or JPG or TIF with the dimensions that they specify to the conference's website. And some conferences have e-posters where it's presented on a monitor. But this is typically the 4 places that are most often used by students to print things. So I want to mention them there, and don't wait until the last minute to do that. Finding local conferences, this is something you guys can read on your own time, but I wanted to highlight 2 things down here. We have a research fair coming up on April 5th, and if I believe SGA research chairs are still accepting poster submissions. That's going to be reviewed by the associate dean, if I'm correct. Let me know if you guys are still accepting poster submissions, but I believe they're still accepting poster submissions for Trinity's inaugural research fair. Another thing I wanted to highlight as we conclude here is Lunch Club. Lunch Club occurs every Thursday. There you go. Our research chair has said that they are still accepting poster submissions. The deadline will be near the end of March. Great, thank you. Last thing I want to mention before we end here is Lunch Club. Lunch Club at Trinity occurs, Austin can talk more about it, but it occurs almost every Thursday virtually on Zoom around noon. It is an opportunity for students to present research, journals, articles, case reports to their peers in a low pressure, low stakes environment. The facilitator is Austin Corpus, and he has also included who to contact about presenting at Lunch Club, which I will go ahead and put 100% on, so you guys can be aware of Lunch Club. So use Lunch Club. I've used Lunch Club. I've presented at Lunch Club 3 times, so that gives you 3 things to mention on your CV. So Lunch Club is an awesome opportunity. Again, Trinity Research Fair coming up April 5th. Still accepting poster submissions. I'll let you guys read this on your own time. And then I wanted to include these 2 for your further reading. First one is written by the ACP on preparing poster presentations. The last one is written by, I believe he's a physician. This is a guide to designing a scientific poster. This one's really great because it includes content layout and more. I'm just going to go ahead and click on it so you guys can see what I'm talking about. It kind of gives you an example of, this is how it looks. This is one way to do it. 4 columns versus large central box. Portrait posters are not very common. And you can also present it this way as shapes. So I wanted to include this website for your purposes. And lastly, before we conclude and answer the question through chat, is if you need further assistance or if you have any questions, the people to reach out to are the SGA Research Chair, the co-chair, as well as you can reach out to Trinity, Georgia, SGA directly, but in the subject line, put attention research so that they can be aware of who's directed towards. And I will go ahead and answer the question that Bharat had earlier. Do you recommend putting the conclusion in the bottom middle if the references are preferred bottom right? So to answer your question, let me go back up to. So as you can see in both of these, the references are in the bottom right. The conclusions are just above it. If you can make the space to combine your discussion and conclusion, like Dr. Swain did, is brilliant. You can combine your discussion and conclusion into one section, which leaves room for your references. That's one way to do it. But I would not recommend putting the conclusion in the bottom middle, because the bottom middle, just the way that people read things, the bottom middle is not the conclusion. The bottom middle is kind of the middle of the poster. So putting the conclusion in the bottom middle, I wouldn't recommend it. If you can make a way to have your conclusion and references be on the far right side, that would be best.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's your question. Can pre-clinical students join lunch club? Austin?
Definitely. If you want to attend these meetings, I definitely send these Zoom links via GroupMe, WhatsApp, and through the SGA weekly email. But you could also email me um, directly to get all the meeting links and to help facilitate this if you want to get more involved into Lunch Club.
Awesome. So yeah, pre-clinical students are always welcome. You guys are people too. You guys are Trinity students too, and you guys will be clinical students soon. So doing lunch clubs as pre-clinical students is always accepted. And so thank you very much for attending. I'll let Austin end the recording. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, Hussein. Thank you. This is a very nice and helpful research workshop. I'll go ahead and stop the recording. Just a quick outro though. Thank you everyone for joining this workshop held by SGA Research Committee. I hope this will inspire you to all look into furthering medical knowledge via research. You could reach out to us. I put our contact information, Nicole, Hussein, and my email, so you contact us. We hope to see you guys at the research area, and hopefully we'll get to see you and your you presenting your project. Remember, after conducting your research, don't let perfection be the enemy of the good. Just start writing and go from there. Give us an email if you need any help with anything. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in.
Bye, everybody.